वेलकम टू प्रिंस शॉर्ट एंड हाउस स्टूडेंट्स। लीगल डिक्टेशन आप दे रहे हैं नॉन स्टॉप 19, 20 एंड 21 जो हमारे यूट्यूब चैनल प्रिंस शॉर्ट एंड हाउस में आपको प्लेलिस्ट में पहले भी हमने डाले हुए लीगल रियल जजमेंट से। तो किसी भी लीगल स्किल टेस्ट के लिए आप इससे बढ़िया प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं और हमारे इसी हर एक डिक्टेशन हर एक क्लास में आपको पीडीएफ में मिल जाएगा आउटलाइंस, स्पेशल आउटलाइंस, एडवांस लीगल फ्रेजिंग। तो आप प्रैक्टिस कीजिए। हम स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं 19, 20 एंड 21 120 वर्ड्स अ मिनट नॉन स्टॉप। रेडी, स्टार्ट। These appeals have been filed against the impugned judgment of the Andhra Pradesh High Court dated 13th April 2003 in writ appeal number 629 of 2003 and writ appeal number 584 of 2003. For the sake of convenience, we will deal with the facts of civil appeal. Heard learned counsel for the parties and perused the record. The facts of the case are that the respondents 1 and 2 in this appeal were appointed by the Andhra Pradesh State Road Transport Corporation (bracket hereinafter referred to as the corporation) bracket close as contract sweeper and attend on 1st May 1992, and respondent number 3 was appointed as such on 1st August 1992. They submitted representations to appellant number 1 and 2 for regularization of their services, claiming that they have completed 240 days of continuous service without any break, but since 10th May 1998 the appellants were not giving them work. Hence the respondents filed a writ petition, being writ petition number 10678 of 1996, which was disposed of by the High Court on 17th October 1997, directing the corporation to consider the case of these employees for regularization of service. By order dated 31st March 1998, the representation of the writ petitioners was rejected on the ground that their regularization can only be considered when they are recruited through the prescribed departmental selection committee and after undergoing a selection process. Since they were not selected and appointed in accordance with the aforesaid procedure, their case for regularization could not be considered. Aggrieved, the respondents filed a writ appeal number 6948 of 1999, which was allowed by a learned single judge of the High Court. In the counter affidavit filed by the corporation in the writ petition, it was stated that the petitioners were entrusted the work of the attendant sweeper on casual basis on a consolidated pay drawing through a pay order on certification of the work every month, but they were not issued any appointment order. It was also submitted that as per the circular of the corporation dated 1st May 1996, there was no provision to engage anyone on contract basis or on consolidated pay. The writ petitioner had not undergone the departmental selection process, and as such they were not entitled the regularization. Learned counsel for the writ petitioner relied on the circular of the corporation dated 26th October 1988, wherein guidelines were issued to engage the existing contractor labor, such as cleaners, including piecemeal rated labor against the sanctioned vacancies. In view of the circular, it was contended that the writ petitioner were entitled for regularization. The learned single judge allowed the writ petition and directed regularization of the writ petitioners within 6 weeks. Aggrieved, the corporation filed an appeal before the division bench of the High Court was rejected by the impugned judgment. In our opinion, these appeals have to be allowed. It has been held by the Constitution Bench of this court in Secretary, State of Karnataka and others versus Uma Devi and others that absorption, regularization or permanent continuance of temporary, contractual, casual, daily wage or ad hoc employees adheres the rules and constitutional scheme of public employment cannot be granted by the courts. As regards the Circular dated 31st March 1998, the same cannot override Article 16 of the Constitution, and hence regularization cannot be granted under the said circular. Next exercise number 20. Challenge in this appeal is to the order passed by the division bench of the Punjab and Haryana High Court allowing the writ petition filed by the respondent number 7 Daljit Singh purportedly in public interest as a public interest litigation. Respondents 1 and 6 were official respondents in the writ petition. Grievance in the writ petition was that the appellant had got appointment as auditor inspector cooperative societies Firozpur on the basis of scheduled caste certificate, though she was not member of any scheduled caste. It was averred that the appellant was married to Shri Jagminder Singh, member of the scheduled caste, and it was on that basis aforesaid certificate had been obtained. It was stated that, in spite of several complaints made to the authorities, no effective action was taken. The official respondent filed in a reply to the effect that proceedings to cancel the scheduled caste certificate were under progress and therefore the writ petition was premature. The appellant filed a written statement stating that on account of her marriage with Jagminder Singh, she was to be considered as a member of the scheduled caste. It was pointed out that the writ petitioner was not qualified and only because of personal vendetta he had filed the writ petition styled as a PIL. The High Court, by the impugned judgment, issued a writ in the nature of quo warranto, setting aside the appointment of the appellant. In support of the appeal, learned counsel for the appellant submitted that in service matters PIL is not maintainable. The writ petition was filed because of personal animosity and can by no stretch of imagination be considered to be a public interest litigation. Learned counsel for the respondent number 7 on the other hand submitted that since the appellant was not entitled to a certificate to the effect that she belonged to any scheduled caste, the authorities were bound to take action on his grievances. The scope of entertaining a petition styled as public interest litigation, locus standi of the petitioner, particularly in matters involving service of an employee, has been examined by this court in various cases. The court has to be satisfied about point A, the credential of the applicant; B, the prima facie correctness or nature of information given by him; point C, the information being not vague and indefinite. The information should show gravity and seriousness involved. Court has to strike balance between two conflicts interest. Point 1. Nobody should be allowed to indulge in wild and reckless allegations besmirching the character of others. And point 2. Avoidance in public mischief and to avoid mischievous petitions seeking to assail for oblique motive justifiable executive actions. In such case, however, the court cannot afford to be liberal. It has to be extremely careful to see that under the guise of redressing a public grievance, it does not encroach upon the sphere reserved by the Constitution to the executive and the legislature. The court has to act ruthlessly while dealing with impostors and busybodies as public spirited only men. The masquerade as crusaders of justice, though they have no interest of the public or even of their own to protect. Courts must be justice by promotion of good faith and prevent law from crafty invasions. Court must maintain the social balance by interfering where necessary for the sake of justice and refuse to interfere where it is against the social interest and public goods. Next exercise number 21. No litigant has a right to unlimited drought on the court time and public money in order to get his affairs settled in the manner as he wishes. Easy access to justice should not be misused as a license to file misconceived and perilous petitions. Today, public rush to courts to file cases in profusion under this attractive name of public interest. They must inspire confidence in courts and among the public. Time has come to weed out the petitions which, though titled as public interest litigations, are in essence something else. It is shocking to note that courts are flooded with a large number of so-called public interest litigations where even a minuscule percentage can legitimately be called as public interest litigations. Though the parameters of public interest litigation have been indicated by this court in large number of cases, yet unmindful of the real intentions and objectives, high courts are entertaining such petitions and wasting valuable judicial time which, as noted above, could be otherwise utilized for disposal of genuine cases. Though in Dr. Duryodhan Sahu and others versus Jitendra Kumar Mishra and others, this court held that in service matters PILs should not be entertained. The inflow of so-called PILs involving service matters continued unabated in the courts and strangely are entertained. The least the High Court could do is to throw them out on the basis of the said decision. The other interesting aspect is that in the PILs, official documents are being annexed without even indicating as to how the petitioner came to possess them. In one case, it was noticed that an interesting answer was given as to its possession. It was stated that a packet was laying on the road, and when out of curiosity the petitioner opened it, he found copies of the official documents. Whenever such perilous pleas are taken to explain possession, the court should do well not only to dismiss the petitions but also to impose exemplary cost. It would be desirable for the courts to filter out the perilous petitions and dismiss them with costs as aforestated so that the message goes in the right direction that petitions filed with oblique motive do not have the approval of the courts. The aforesaid position was highlighted in Ashok Kumar Pandey versus State. It is depressing to note that on account of such uh, trumpery proceedings initiated before the courts, innumerable days are wasted which time otherwise could have been spent for the disposal of cases of the genuine litigants. Though we spare no effort in fostering and developing the laudable concept of PIL and extending our long arm of sympathy to the poor, the ignorant, the oppressed, and the needy, whose fundamental rights are infringed and violated, and whose grievances go noticed, unrepresented, and unheard, yet we cannot avoid but express our opinion that while genuine litigants with legitimate grievances relating to civil matters involving properties worth hundreds of millions of rupees and substantial rights and criminal cases in which persons sentenced to death facing galleys under untold agony and persons sentenced to life imprisonment and kept in incarceration for long years. Persons suffering from undue delay in service matters, government or private persons awaiting the disposal of tax cases wherein huge amounts of public revenue or unauthorized collection of tax amounts are locked up expecting their release from the detention orders, etc., are all standing in a long queue for years with the hope of getting into the courts and having their grievances redressed. The busybodies stop.